Hi guys. Yesterday I did the assessment of the 2023 Bordeaux from the left bank. You guys can see that show on my YouTube channel, financereverie.com, or you can see on my LinkedIn channel or on the Facebook page. All right, today I'm going to do the right bank. All right, let me pull up the map and share that with you guys. All right, so all right. All right, guys. So you look at the map right now. So the right bank, we're talking about see the Gironde River, it goes into the Dordogne River, and then you see the two most famous appellations on the right bank of the river. You see the Saint Emilion and Pomerol, and they produced Merlot and Cabernet Franc based wines, whereas left bank produces Cabernet Sauvignon based wines. This is Merlot and Cabernet Franc. And these are the two famous villages, and then they have the other villages surrounding them, and they make the same wines. You know, Merlot dominant wines. Sometimes with Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon is added to in a smaller portion. So that's kind of the difference between left bank and right bank Bordeaux. All right, so let me go back to the assessment. So just like yesterday, I'm gonna look at reviews from the reviewer of Jensen Robinson. Let me pull up his assessment right here. All right. All right. So it's James Lothar. He's a contributor to JensenRobinson.com. Here's a brief overview of what he gave. So he said that Merlot dominated area, which is the right bank that we just looked at. It suffered from mildew. So you know that's not good for the wines, and he specifically mentioned Merlot. So towards the bottom, he starts mentioning how Cabernet Franc right here, Cabernet Franc did much better in Pomerol and Saint Emilion than Merlot did. So a lot of the big wineries where Merlot typically dominates the blend, they actually added more Cabernet Franc to the blend. Alsan had 60%, Lafleur 54%, and he says typically those are close to 20%. So that's the overview of the right bank. So mildew infected and affected Merlot. All right. So Saint Emilion, the big boy is Cheval Blanc, and they got a good score, 18 points. So remember that out of barrel tasting, these are babies, unpremiere. So they're still in barrel. They're not even in the bottle yet. So this is initial assessment. The assessment will most likely change after retastings down the line, you know, 2 years, 4 years, etc., etc. But I think a lot of the time, initial assessment it gives a pretty good overview. So 18 points, that's like 95 points on a 100-point scale. Really good score. Cheval Blanc is one of the grandest, most famous, best wines in the world. In a great vintage, I expect to be 18 and a half, 19 points, but 18 points is pretty good. Angelus Assan, 17 and a half points. Good scores, you know, 94 point wines. But just to give you a perspective, these are super premium wines. So Cheval Blanc is probably going to be costing in a $700 to $800 price range. And that actually has to do with 2023 and Premier. A lot of the wines did not sell that great out of the box last year in 2022, even though the vintage was considered a better vintage. So many of the producers dropped their prices for 2023, from what I read, like between 25 and 40%. So when I'm saying $700, that's actually on the cheaper price for Cheval Blanc, but it's still a super premium wine. So you pay 95 for 95 points. You paid $700. I mean, pretty penny. All right, but we're just gonna look at the assessments. Chateau Figeac, another great winery, 17 and a half points. I mean, you know, these are really good, solid scores. So this is Saint Emilion. So just kind of skip through them. Some Merlots, as you guys could see, Merlot, Cabernet Franc. Merlot still dominates in a lot of these wines. But let's go back down and see if we could find Pomerol. And Pomerol is very kind of interesting village or you know, commune. All right. A lot of definitely much smaller than Saint Emilion. As you guys could see, Saint Emilion has quite a few wines that are reviewed here. Obviously, we looked at the big boys; they're kind of the standard setters. But now let's look at some of the big wines out of Pomerol. All right, Pomerol. So the biggest wine Probably on par with Chateau Lafite in the left blank, or Cheval Blanc is Chateau Petrus. 100% Merlot, 18 points, another fantastic score. This is a wine that's going to be in the 4,000 per bottle range. So it's going to be 3 to 4 times more expensive than Cheval Blanc, just to give you a perspective. Um, and then it goes to 17 and a half. And these are some of the big names of the Pomerol. Rue Chateau Sarton, Chateau Clinet, 17 points. These are all super expensive, super premium wines. Um, uh, Le Pin, that's a super premium wine in the thousands of dollars, 17 points. 17 points is like 92 points on a 100-point scale. Typically, this wine gets 18 and a half, 19 points. So you can see that 2023, it looks like a good vintage, but it's not a superior vintage on the right bank as well as on the left bank. And then the scores start dropping pretty quickly. Chateau Hassana, that's a wine that retails in a 150 plus price point range, 16 and a half, which is 90 points. I mean, premium wines that are kind of average, at least seeming average at this stage. So anyway, yeah, the scores drop significantly here. 16 points, like 88, 89 points on the 100-point scale. And these are all just like on the left bank that I reviewed yesterday. You can see that on the right bank, the scores are not that fantastic. If we look at surrounding areas, Côte de Bourg, Bordeaux, all of them, as you can see, Merlot dominant wines, good wines, nothing fantastic. But here, it really depends on the price points. I don't know off the top of my head. They're not listing out in this category, but some of them could actually be pretty good values. Côte de Bordeaux, 16 and a half points, that could be a fantastic value. You just have to know what the price point for these wines is going to be. Remember, they're still in barrels. All right. All right, so fun assessment, guys. I have some of these wines from earlier vintages. I have, for example, Cheval Blanc from 2019. That got fantastic scores. And I have it in stock. And 19 is considered a great vintage. 23 looks like a good vintage. So yeah, if you're gonna be looking at wines, maybe highly regarded vintages like 16, 18, and 19 is better to look at than 23. All right, guys, I thought this was helpful. Let me know if you guys want me to do some other assessment of other wines. Otherwise, I'll talk to you guys next time. Thank you.